We always ask ourselves this question: where did our time go?
For me, every year seems to get faster and faster. Of course, I doubt I'm the only one. I think it's a global phenomenon for everyone to feel that time passes faster as we age.
I remember the first time I started primary school. A year seems like an endless journey to complete. But fast forward to today. It seems as if my life is playing at 2 times speed. Everything is happening so fast.
The fact that most of us are working on the same job, doing the same routine over and over again makes it worse. And that applies to me as well. Even though what I do on YouTube seems fun, but I've fallen into a process of making a video every week. Week by week, without me even notice, 1 year has passed and I've created 50 videos with a blink of an eye. To be honest, I feel like I only did 20. And if you feel the same with your time as well, there are many explanations decoding the mystery of why our time passes faster as we age. And Professor Adrian Badgen explains it with physics,
stating that as aging occurs, our nerves deteriorate and increase the resistance to the flow of electric signals, causing slowing processing time.
If you don't get what I mean, don't worry, neither do I. I'm just reading it off the script. If you know how slow motion video works, you might be able to understand this concept better. So let me use camera as an example. Let's say when we are young, we are able to see 100 frames per second. As we age, we might only be able to see 24 frames per second.
And when we play that in our mind, this is how it looks.
Even though time remains the same, but our eyes capture less than what we used to be able to. That's why we might perceive time passing faster than usual. But I shall not go in depth in this before this video becomes as complex as Christopher Nolan's movie. But other than the aging process, psychologist Claudia Harmon explains this with what she coined as the holiday paradox.
It states that during our childhood, whatever we experience are new encounters, and we learn countless new skills.
However, as we transit into adulthood, we settle down for a job with a specific profession.
Our lives tend to routinize and become repetitive. We became familiar with whatever that is occurring around us, and things become dull and mundane, to a point where we choose to look back at our rearview mirror. We tend to have more unforgettable memories during our younger days. Our first impression, our first time starting school, our first time driving a car.
We tend to pull those memories back and back again, and that explains why older memories seems to last longer and create a feeling that time is slower back then. With that, let us talk about 2020. I'm pretty sure we don't have to explain how abnormal this year is. Some months passed pretty slow, but yet without us even knowing, 8 more days to end this year.
And I would say it could be slow for some because we're experiencing something new. Work from home, travel restriction, social distancing. These are unfamiliar experiences we never been through.
And because of this unconventionality, it breaks the repetition of our daily routine and makes us feel that this period passed slowly. However, it quickly became fast because there's nothing more mundane than our favorite comfort zone, our home.
Things started to become repetitive, or even a norm for many. That's when time is perceived as fast, because every day is the same.
So, if we base on this psychological explanation, we know that the main culprit here is our brain, and what affects it the most is our actions and experience. In short, we have control over how we perceive our time by slowing ourselves down. And there's no other better time than the year end, because it seems more acceptable and relevant during this holiday season. And now, let us look at some of the actionable steps we can take to slow ourselves down. And since we are seeing this as a psychological issue, then we should start with our minds.
If you are someone into productivity, the word flow might not be unfamiliar to you. When you are in the state of flow, you are in the zone, fully immersed in your work with extreme focus. And you can be so engrossed with your project to a stage where time, hunger, or anything else ceases to exist.
You know, I love the flow, but if you're wondering why are we bringing this up, it's because I feel that we can use the same concept to slow down, be mindful, and fully utilize this hyper-focus on our surroundings and being present. Very often, we want our life to be full, and we try to squeeze everything in it, try to rush everything out. But the truth is, the more we rush, we'll feel the time is getting faster and faster. Sometimes, it's equally essential for us to pull ourselves back from this mindless way of existing. And I have to say, there's no other better exercise than meditation. Even if it's a short one, a 10 to 15 minutes meditation every day, that's the best way to remind ourselves to live our life at a normal speed.
Journaling.
Time machine exists, and that's our journal. We heard a lot of benefits coming from writing a journal. Whether is it measurable or not, it's still a habit many adopt in their daily routine.
And why do I call it a time machine? Minus the high-tech imagination of a time machine, we can travel back in time to a particular day just by reading our previous entry.
Other than going back in time, we can slow down time by journaling our experiences, feelings, and ideas in it.
When we are penning down what happened in our day, we are also reliving our day for the second time, an excellent way for us to recap the moment and acknowledge our existence.
Cultivating silence. This is an important step for us to slow down, and also something I need to remind myself. Because when I'm busy physically, I tend to multitask with my ears, listening to podcasts or any form of audio medium. I'm sure a lot of you have this habit as well, and maybe you're even doing it right now, washing dishes while watching this video, listening to podcasts when you are paying your bills. I don't think that's wrong, and I do understand how it feels, needing something to entertain us from the boredom. But I do it so often to a point where silence seems uncannily irritating to me.
So instead of covering up silence, why not appreciate silence? It might cultivate us to listen more to our surroundings.
Just like what Ryan Holiday mentioned in his book, stillness is the key. The absence of noise allows us to discover a deeper awareness of our environment and give our brain the time to reflect and contemplate.
Experience new things.
This might be counterintuitive to how we imagine slowing down is.
Initially, I thought slowing down might mean not doing anything, but now I realize we can actually slow down by doing something new.
As mentioned, if how fast or slow we perceive time is based on how we utilize it, then in order for us to slow it down, we should remind ourselves to do things that is out of our comfort zone, learn new skills, adopt new hobbies, trying out new food. Not only does it make our life more eventful, it also breaks our mundane routine and slows down our brain perception of time.
Remind ourselves what's the intention.
Often, we are lost in time because we are not living intentionally, or some might call it living without a purpose. Whether it's working just to get by or study for the sake of studying, doing things without intentions is the culprit that makes us not live. As I recall back to my uni period, I studied for the sake of getting a degree. There's not much memory for me to recall, and I felt like an empty shell going with the flow, as if I didn't exist for that 2 years. By the way, I'm not saying that working is a waste of time, but working without a purpose will clearly bring us back to the same question we started this video. Where did our time go? And rather than claiming being intentional or finding a purpose can slow down time, I'll say it's more of a preventive measure for us to stop wasting time on things that don't align with us. So, I feel the key to slow down is nothing more than being present at the moment and appreciating the now. Whenever there's something related to time, that will catch my attention. And this gives me the opportunity to reflect why my 2020 feels so fast. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the process, but I think it's also essential for me to slow down and experience something different so as to prevent myself suffering from every creator's nightmare, burnout. So my plan is to slow down for the first 2 weeks of 2021, take a break from YouTube for these 2 weeks. Even though I call it a break, but the fact is I have to go back to the ministry as a reservist, so I have no choice. I might as well take this opportunity to slow down. So, 8 more days before we end this year. How will you spend it? Let me know down in the comment section below. Lastly, I want to thank you guys for being here all this while. Even if you are here only last week or yesterday, I want to express my gratitude to you guys. The support, the love, the comments you guys give really pushes me forward. I really appreciate that, and I'm really grateful for that. Thanks for watching this, and I shall see you guys again next week. There's still one more before I go for my break. So, see you guys.